My name is Katalina. I'm Senior Product Manager at Progress, responsible for a few of our DX products, the main one, Sitefinity. And I'm here today to show you a demonstration of what Sitefinity is, how it works, and to show you how you can work with it on your end as well. I will start with a couple of words about Progress first, and then I will go straight to a demo after that of Sitefinity. But first, about our company. We are proud to have a huge number of software companies build their product on Progress technologies. And as you see in the upcoming slide, it's not just Sitefinity that you'll be seeing, but there are a bunch of other products that you can also use to create great digital experiences, to manage your infrastructure and your application data platform. So here we have almost 2,000 software companies relying on Progress technologies and a huge, strong developer community with 3.5 million developers being active with our technology. We also have hundreds of thousands enterprises running their impact application on Progress and millions of users that run work with applications that run on Progress technologies. And even more, of course, that browse applications that were made with Progress technologies, which probably you are also one of those users. But we'll get to our customers in the slides later on. As I said, we have in our portfolio different products. Some of them are focused on creating application and data platforms, including Data Direct, OpenEdge, and MarkLogic, digital experiences, which is what we're going to focus today, and infrastructure management. And here is an overview of our application architecture and the product portfolio of Progress. The experience layer comprises of the DX products, Sitefinity, developer tools, where you can build different mobile apps, web apps, desktop apps, and even different emerging channels. Chatbots, which you'll also see in action today. On the content and insights and decisioning, we have Sitefinity and Sitefinity Insight, the topic of today's presentation for content, personalization, and data insights. We have secure file transfer solution called MoveIt, which you might want to check. Decisioning, digital decisioning engine called Corticon, and data connectivity solution, Data Direct. And on the infrastructure management, we have DevSecOps Chef solution, and Kemp and Loadmaster for app delivery and security, WhatsApp Goat for monitoring and observability, and Flowmon for threat detection and response. I will start with a slide here showing the Gartner Magic Quadrant, which some of you might have already seen on our websites or in different channels. Sitefinity DXP was regarded as good value for money. As you see, Progress is included in the quadrant. We've been recognized widely for our ease of use, for our low-code and drag-and-drop features, especially for form creation and intuitive personalization, content targeting, and also creating pages. And we also have integrated components for conversational interfaces or AI chatbots, native chat. We are proud to say that we are the most user-friendly DXP platform, and we deliver rapid and cost-effective digital experiences for multiple channels with unparalleled ease of use for marketers, but also for developers. We are making sure with each release that we are making it easy for our developer network to create great experiences and make the life of marketers easier and rapid time to market. Some of the components that you see today that comprise the digital experience platform are the intuitive multi-site and multilingual content management, analytics, CDP, audience tracking, tailored decisioning, personalization in general, and things coming out of the box. Our cloud-enabled, extensible, and connected ASP.NET platform. You might also be familiar with Sitefinity Cloud, which is our platform as a service offering, where we are showing the most of Sitefinity, and we're delivering the most of Sitefinity on an instance for you, where you don't need to manage the infrastructure yourself, but we're doing it for you in a scalable and secure way. And B2C site search AI chatbots that are tailored to your business and you can customize further. And now let's get to the demo. So the first thing that you see when you log into Sitefinity is our dashboard. So it's a place where you will get some important notifications. It will be a hub for you to take a look at things that are happening and also find useful information. If you're just getting started, you might take a look at the resources here on how to create pages, content, upload photos, create forms. But hopefully this would be just as intuitive as you wouldn't even need to open those links. We also see a system status widget, which is something that our administrators, I'm administrator in this essence, can only see. This is a place where if there are any errors or any warnings in the system, you'll be able to see what's going on. You'll be able to take actions or find relevant solutions. New in Sitefinity, this is our way to communicate with you, our users. What are the newest features that you might want to take a look at and share some interesting insights. And Sitefinity Insight is our analytics customer data platform where you can understand how your content is performing and how effective it is in moving towards conversions. And down below is the place where you will see most of the updates, the content items that you've recently published or you've interacted with, as well as everyone else's content items. Below are also other widgets that can be added. And by the way, this dashboard is completely configurable, so you can go ahead and move the widgets as you wish or add new widgets if you want. So starting from here, every content editor and every administrator, when they log in, they'll start from here. And one of the more common things that they will do is they'll go to Pages to start and create pages. Let's see what we have there. So this is our page structure, but before I show you in details how it looks, I will just go ahead and browse the live site so you get an idea of what this website is about and what we will be showing today. So our website is called Coriander Lane. It's a corporate franchise restaurant where you might be here because you want to become a franchisor, or you might be here because you're browsing different foods and different restaurants that you want to try in your town. And the way it looks is there are the different franchise options, the different news, and just a way to subscribe here with your email, and also navigation. As you see, the navigation here covers some of our pages, which if we go back to the pages menu, you see in the exact same way. So food is the one that is here on the front end. Franchising is the one that it's this page, a group page. So this is completely configurable, and you can decide which pages go to navigation, which doesn't, if they are pages created in Sitefinity, or if you want to add the redirect pages so that, for example, anyone that presses on the navigation would go and visit an external website. And if we go ahead and open our homepage, we'll see how the editing experience looks like. So this is what the page looks like in edit mode. Here is where, when you're building new pages, you'll be doing most of the work. So for example, this is our slider. There are our food options, different content blocks here, different news items here. And what you see, these pointers that I'm showing right now are called widgets. And the widgets are here to display information that's already been added to Sitefinity. So Sitefinity is structured in a way where you create your pages, you drop widgets, and the widgets display information which is in the system or something that you will add right now. So if I go ahead and drag the blocks widget, I will see all of the blogs that are available. The blog post will show the blog posts, and if I want to just add some content because I want to add, let's say that there are discounts today because it's a national holiday, I click on here and I can create content. discounts today. Happy National Holiday. And I'll just quickly format it. This might be a heading. People need to know that that's important news. I will center it a little bit. I can even go ahead and see what images might be useful here. And it could be that I need to add something from our backgrounds or menu types. Let's say backgrounds. This would be rather generic image. And I will add this one here. I will also center it. And I'll press save. So here it goes. I don't need the blocks actually, so I'll delete them. And if I click preview, you will see that our new information is already here. Okay, let us publish this page because we're happy with the results. And we'll go back to the pages menu. As you see, this page is now published. If we need to find it, or if we need to filter out the available pages, we can filter by language, sort the pages. For example, see the ones that are in draft mode, the ones that are my pages, so pages that I have created here, for example, or go back to all the pages. Something else that we can see is outdated pages. So that's a feature that shows you which pages might have been outdated because the content has not been updated in a while. So I showed you one of the websites here, but I also, in this instance of Sitefinity, have different websites, not just this one. And if I go in the upper left corner, I will see that I have Asia Pacific site, Kala, Corporate, Europe, Franchise Portal, and North America. And I can go ahead, for example, in the North America, and this will redirect me to a whole different website. If I click on Live Site, you will also see what the North America site looks like. So if you have a case where you have multiple, let's say, products or multiple different branches of a corporation that need to be under the same Sitefinity project, then it's a good way to structure them. You can structure them in the same project, but at the same time have different websites for them without the data interfering or with some data being shared between the sites. If I actually go ahead and click on Manage Websites, from here, I can create a new site, or I can share some information from one site with the other. So here, figure modules and taxes. So for example, the North America website shares whatever is available in the libraries, like documents, images, and so on, shares with all of the websites, with the corporate websites. The images are also shared with the with the other websites. But let's take a look now at what else we can do besides of pages. So as you saw on pages, I can create different rich content like the banner that I just showed. Let me just go back to corporate website. So I can show some information that I just created in a content block, but at the same time, when I pulled the blocks widget, you saw that there was actually something coming from elsewhere. As I said, the content can be created in a different way. So we can go to the blocks section, to our corporate block, and that's an example of how the content items look like. So a good example, besides for blog post, would be that in this case, we're not just building blog posts, we have news items. We might also input different events, but these are all built-in content types. At the same time, we might have a use case where we want to build something custom. For example, if we're building a website for, let's say, for books, we might want to have a content type which is called books, and we can display different views of the books in our widgets on the pages. All of the modules can be configured very easily, so you can put different types of fields there, so it can actually represent the actual structure of a book. And let's take a look how a blog post looks like. We have our title, content, it's a bunch of content, summary, some open graph description. These are social media fields so that it's easier for our content to be easily browsed and easily findable from an SEO point of view, and for open graph for sharing in different channels. But let's take a look at something else. I will create a new blog post, and I will type that it's benefits of healthy food, which are obvious, and I'll just go ahead and say there are plenty. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating the blog post in English, but I can very easily translate it to other languages. If we go back here, we'll see that all of our blog posts can be available in 3 languages that are specified for the system, but you can go ahead and specify other languages if you want. So here it's English, Spanish, and French. And if I go back to my item, which is benefits of healthy food, if I'm to translate it right now, I can go ahead and create a translation in Spanish. The translation view is pretty neat because I can see on the side how my original version looks like. So here I will be creating the Spanish version, which I don't know Spanish, so I'm not sure really what to write here. But on the site I can see how the English version also looks like. There are also some fields that I can say are shared for all translations. For example, the open graph image. So whatever image I upload here, I'll go to libraries and I'll pick this one. Seems like healthy food to me. And I will just put publish. I can go ahead to my English version, see that the image is already here. So it's been populated, and it will be the same image for all of the language versions. And not only can I use this sidebar to see what the original looks like, but I can also when I try to translate to another version, let's say to French, I can also start from Spanish. Here we also have different options to filter and sort the blog posts. It's also for your custom modules. I can go ahead and open some of the custom modules, which is, for example, corporate food items, to show you how they look like. So this is again something that is not available in the system, but out of the box. But our editors, because they needed to have corporate food items module, they created with the so-called dynamic module builder, and they reflected the structure of what a corporate food item would look like. So for example, we have a description field, we have calories field here, which is not something that we have in the news module. We have menu type, ingredients, and price if you want to, and again, images. We can also customize this view here to show some of the fields that we had in the item. So we can easily show as visible here that the images that are related to this particular item are 2, and we can browse them from here. Okay. Some of the other neat options for working with the content items, and something that you might be interested in, is the revision history. A lot of times when we are making changes to our website, we are wondering who made the change, what's happening here, if we can revert to an old version. So this is really easily accessible from here. In this particular case, we have only one version. That's because, as you see, that's version 3.0. That's because of the feature that can automatically clean up revision histories if you want to. But we can go ahead and create a new version of this item, and we'll see how it will appear. So, say, bruschetta. If I publish, I can now check the revision history and see that the latest version which I populated is here, and I can go ahead to this version. I can even compare the two versions, and if I don't like what I just did, I revert to this version. So here we go. Our change is gone, so we don't need to worry about it. Also, something that will be useful for bigger websites where you have a lot of content editors and you're not sure who is publishing what is our workflow. So for example, there might be a rule where only people who are responsible, let's say, for the coupons can issue new coupons. We don't want all of our editors to be able to issue new coupons. So that's something that can be handled with workflow or permissions. On the one hand, with permissions, you can restrict who can view coupons, who can create new coupons or edit the existing ones. And on the other hand, with workflow, you're making sure that whenever there is a change, the change will be going to be approved from someone who has the right to approve it. And it can easily be set up from here. And we'll define a new workflow. We don't need to give it a name. We can skip publishing it for the moment, but let's see how we define the scope. So the scope is where the workflow will kick in. In this case, we said that we care about the coupons, so we can select that the workflow will be respected only for coupons, and we can select if this is going to be for all languages in the system or just for some of them. In this case, let's keep it all of them. And we can define how many levels of approval there will be. If there is only one, then just one person will need to take a look at it, and the content creator will create the content, then send it for approval, and someone who has the right to do it will publish it. In 2 and 3 levels, there will be an additional level where more approvals will be needed from more people. And here you can select who the approvers will be. So for example, the approvers can be just let's say administrators of the website, or the owners in this case. The administrators are always an approvers. Okay. Let's go back to our pages now that we know a lot about how we can create the content and what we can do with it, what are the operations that are allowed. Now, when we were on the home page, you might have noticed that it says personalized. So I'm going to show you how you can personalize a page and what the personalization actually means. So here, as you see, there are some orange headings, which show that these widgets here have been personalized. So this sliders widget has been personalized, this content block and this corporate foods. Even an easier way to see what we mean here is to take a look, to press this icon and see that we are currently previewing the page for all of our customers. So if the page is visible on the front end, it's a first-time visitor, for example, they will see this page. But at the same time, as I said, this is a website where you can become a franchisor, and you can apply for a franchisor for this particular restaurant. We've personalized the widgets so they show a different view for the franchise applications. So if I press here, this is the view that you see if you have applied for a franchisor. So this is a way for you to make sure that you are bringing relevant messaging to your audience. So for example, if you want to differentiate the people that are on your website and you know what would respond better to their needs, you don't need to show the same content to everyone. You can show different content depending on the interests, on the behavior, and even on the demographics. So if there's someone that's browsing your website from a certain location, let's say Singapore, and someone that's browsing from somewhere in Europe, they might see different image or different text even to greet them, to greet them or anything else. Now, you might be wondering how we're defining this franchise acquisition or the franchisors. That's actually something that is coming from Sitefinity Insight. And I will go ahead and show you Sitefinity Insight. I'll click this report link because I know it's a short way to bring me to my dedicated instance or data center. And I'll start from the dashboard before I proceed here. So Sitefinity Insight is our tracking, analytics, and customer data platform where you will see overview of what your audience is doing on your website, what conversions they're hitting, what touch points they're hitting, what are the visitors like, and what their behavior has been. So I'm starting here with the conversions, but as I said, we did personalization, so I'll jump quickly to the audience so that I will show you how the personas have been defined. So the personas for our restaurants are franchisor and job hunter and also a foodie. As you said, if we're building this website from the ground up, if we're targeting to find franchisors, then some of them will be franchisors. But at the same time, there will be people who are looking for a job. There are job hunters and foodies. We can take a look at the persona by clicking View Persona and see what the statistics are like and what the details are like for this franchisor. So out of all of our visitors, almost 1,000 of them are franchisors. There are certain contacts that have passed. So Sitefinity Insight tracks both anonymous and authenticated users. So that's why you see visitors. These are all visitors, and contacts are just authenticated. So you know who they are and you have their email address. In general, you have their email address. They can be not just authenticated, but people that have submitted the form or somehow submitted their email information. And we can say certain statistics for them. But the way that we have defined our persona is that either that's a person who searches for franchise, or we have CRM data. Here we can integrate our CRM so that the information we have there is also used for our personalization and segmentation capabilities, so that if a person is marked as a franchisor, they will also be marked as a franchisor as a persona. And once we have personalized our page, we can also go ahead and see how the page is performing. This is done in the personalization reports. Let me see if there's one that has many hits. Let's say the home one. And that's actually where we started from with the link. So as this page has been personalized, here we can see very good statistics on what personas and what segments it resonates better with. For example, most of our visitors are franchise acquisition, from the franchise acquisition segment, but we also have some franchise or app approved and process complete, which are other segments that we have defined previously here. We can see how many views we have on the web page, but we can also see how many personalized views. Now here, as it is a sample data center, the statistics might be a bit off because usually the personalized use will be less than the total page views. Sitefinity Insight is also a great tool where you can track your conversions. So if you want someone on your website to do a certain thing, that's usually to download a trial, to send you a query, to book a demo, that's something that you would usually define as a conversion. And here you can track how your conversions are performing in terms of monetary value and in terms of conversion rate. Let's see the submit form conversion. We can see what the rate is out of all total visitors, how many of them converted, how many of them are unique users, what happened, and also a graph here, and also how that's related to our personas. So we know that our franchisers are the ones that submit the form most often out of all of the personas that we have. And we also can measure what interactions, what touch points, and what assets on our website are contributing to this conversion. So which portion of our website is more important so that we can get to a touch point. We can get to a certain conversion. And talking about touch points, you can see how a touch point looks like. That's usually something that happens on the website, some part of a journey on a website, either or a website or another channel, digital or offline channel. We can see how the touch point is performing, and also you can see which are the previous and next interactions. We don't really have data, but that's the way to show what the journey usually looks like. Let's go back and see how this works in action. I'll go ahead and open an incognito window. And this is the default version. As you remember, the one with the egg is the default version. And something that I can do is, if I'm a franchisor, I'll go ahead and submit the franchise application. But before I do that, get back, and before I do that, I see something here, and that's our chatbot. So as I said, we'll talk about our chatbot. So that's native chat. It's a way for you to build AI chatbots, which can do essentially two things for you. They can automate repetitive tasks. For example, the repetitive task in hand is here, help you find a coriander lane store or restaurant, or they can answer FAQs. So here I can browse I can find the nearest location by city. It will ask me which city I'm looking for. These are the cities, so I can say Chicago. And I want something in 100 miles. And there's obviously one restaurant in Chicago, and I can see it in Google Maps if I want to, and it can show me different information. I'll go back and do the application now. So have I owned a franchise before? No. I'll write something for the total assets. I'll select that I have a lot of funds to invest in this restaurant, and it will be in Europe, for example. You will see that if I select other, there is a way that another field will appear. These are our conditional forms, and actually if I go ahead and say, have you owned a franchise, and select yes, you will see that a different view appears. So the way this appears in the backend is that you can define conditions on your own, so you can show and hide fields depending on other fields' values. This happens, of course, in real time. Let's see right now, America. I'll be a passionate investor or a part-time investor. Let's say part-time investor I'll be partially involved in this business and devoted to this business. Something interesting that you see here is that financial documents was the second step, but that's not actually, it's not something that it asked us for. This is part of dynamic forms. So that's also something that can be achieved with Progress technology, in this case, Corticon. Corticon is a decisioning and rules engine where it took the information I provided from the first step, and based on rules that have been defined for the business, I got a pre-approval, as you see. I also have a statement of what the fees will be like, the royalty rate, and others information. And that's based on information I have already provided. It's been processed by the rules that are defined by business people. I'll go ahead and finish my application. And it's been successful. I'll go back to my site now. And as you see, the site has changed. We no longer see the slider. That's because we're looking at the personalized version. That's also the one that we saw in the beginning and we saw in edit mode. And if I open the chatbot here, it actually starts with something different. It now asks me, do you want to ask a question? And as I just applied for a franchisor, and I'm really curious to understand what's happening there, if I'll be approved or not, I will ask about the process. How long does it take? And it can answer my question. Actually, the question is, the bot is trained even on other information, which is how long does the application take, but because of the natural language processing, it picked up the intent only from the words that I have used. And here I can see that in general, most applications take 2 to 3 weeks to go through, and test for financial review and so on and so forth. Now there's something that is very interesting here, is that this chatbot has been trained on information that is already available in the system. So if I go to franchising FAQs, you will see that we have certain questions like submit an application, reasons to start franchise, how much does it cost, how does the franchise work, and so on and so forth. And if I create a new item, for example, how to get started with healthy eating, it is really simple. I'll go ahead and publish it. I'll go back to our website. I'll start in the conversation. Just restart. And I'll ask it how to get started with the eating. Wow, this time it didn't really find what I was looking for. At the same time, it gives me some suggestions on what I can do. I can either try something that sounds pretty familiar to the chatbot, for example, how do I get napkins with logo printed on them? Not really similar, but somehow I can restart the conversation, or I can search the website for the information that I have there. And that's about it from our demo, but I will go ahead and I will follow with information about some of our customers, which you might be familiar with. We have customers in the B2B technology sector, we have industrial customers, healthcare customers, financial services, and B2C retail. These are some of the verticals where we are generally strong, and you can see some names that are pretty recognizable. Some are more regional, and others are from other regions as well. One that is probably a website that we have all visited in the past 3 years, and probably a website that I personally haven't visited before the COVID started, is the World Health Organization. It's the authority on international health, and it's been on Sitefinity for 4 years now. So it's been, again, very popular during the pandemic. It delivers health services to 150 countries. It manages 50K pieces of content and 20K images with small international team of content editors. They're doing work in different languages, as you probably know, on their website. And the ease of use which Sitefinity provides reflected in significant savings and training costs. NTU is also one of our bigger customers, one of the top universities, not only in Singapore, but in the world. They have 150 sites running on just one instance of Sitefinity, something that I showed you that you can do, have multiple sites in the same instance. They improve the governance and branding with custom widgets, shared content, and they are managing all of their courses centrally. Also, one of the top public policy schools in the world, LKY, is a Sitefinity customer. They're integrating with Sitefinity, and they're providing different choices for individual institutions, and yet, as you see, keeping their branding intact. Mount Elizabeth is regional leader in healthcare, as you know well. Sitefinity is the vendor here again. Provides 11 websites there. They manage the shared content block, including some profiles to multiple websites, as you can do with Sitefinity, and integrates with doctor's appointment portal. So thank you all. And now, if you have any questions, I can take them.
Hi, thanks, Katalina, for your great demo and presentation. So this is Kay Griggs. I'm the marketing manager for Progress here, based in Singapore, and so I'm just going to open up for the questions. I did see a question coming through from through the presentation. So, can you create a page with 4 columns? And yeah, so I'll just pass it on to Katalina.
Okay, yeah. I think I'm sharing my screen again, just to make sure that you can see it, because I wanted to show you how that's actually done. Yes, you can create all sorts of different layout options for your pages. So something else that I didn't quite go into details and I didn't show in the demo, but it's a good opportunity that you asked, is creating the layout itself. So on the site menu where you see the widgets, there is, this is in the content tab, but there is also a layout tab. So the layout tab is the way that you actually build the whole layout, like look and feel of the website. So here you have different options that are built in, and as you asked about 4 columns, if you want to have 4 columns, you can just drag and drop a grid 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, so 4 different columns. And that's how you will achieve 4 different columns on the website. There are also different options that you can choose from. And these widgets here, they're custom ones, so it's very easy. It's like creating HTML, CSS/HTML files, to be more precise, to create such grid widgets. So if you want to have something more extraordinary in terms of layout, that's also possible and very easily extensible. And if we go back to the content tab, then you see the 4 columns here, and people can start drag and dropping items here.
Okay, anybody? So did that answer your question? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask more questions if you like. Or put in the chat, that's fine as well. Okay, so I go to the next one. How does the bot learn from conversations?
That's also a great question. So we have an understanding assessment module, or also supervised reinforced learning. It can be said, where you can see a history and all of the different prompts that customers have used to contact your chatbot. And you can select it, the ones that are relevant. So you can, for example, say, yeah, the understanding of this phrase was correct, and the bot gets further points for learning that. Or you can say that, for example, as we asked about healthy eating, and then it said something about napkins. If we get that answer, we can say that this is incorrect. And also we can easily add new phrases exactly as our customers have mentioned them. We can easily add it from the training. But it's a supervised model, so there is an administrator that needs to go ahead and approve this, and that's on purpose because we don't want the bot to learn from anything that your users say. After all, you're the content expert and you would want to do that yourself. You would want to prove that yourself.
Okay, great. And then we have, can Sitefinity send data to other systems like CRM or other apps?
Yeah, absolutely. Sitefinity is very extensible and can communicate in various ways. And I'll show you in a second one of the easiest ways to do so. We have the so-called webhooks module. So if we go ahead and go to administration, and then we go to service hooks, webhooks, it's the same. Then you see that this particular instance of Sitefinity, for example, has been set up to send information to different systems. So when a form is submitted, then the data is sent to a certain logic app in Azure, which basically then provides you an option to send it to wherever you need to. It could be a CRM, it could be marketing automations, or anything that you can think of. So here is the form responses, but also you can do any sort of changes when a media item is modified, when, for example, when the chatbot is modified, you can also, when an FAQ is modified, you can send it to the chatbot. That's the way the integration with native chat works, so that you can go ahead and create FAQs in Sitefinity and have the bot learn from them. So that's absolutely possible.
Great, thanks. Any other questions? I have one more, but if so, do you support automated publishing that you can set up for the future?
Yeah, absolutely. We support it for content types and also for pages. So in case you would like, for example, to have a blog post be published in next week rather than now, because now it's not a good time, but you know that next week you'll be having some sort of a promotional material or something of that sort, then you can go ahead and use the schedule, publish, and unpublish function, which basically allows you to publish on a specific date in the future. So like you can schedule it for publish on the 31st of March here. We can also schedule it for unpublish if we know that this item is going to not be relevant in one more month.
Great. Okay. So I think we have. Is there any other questions? Anybody else would like to unmute and then ask more questions or have a discussion with Katalina? She's here, and then she flew all the way from Bulgaria. She's now in Singapore, so we just had her to have the demo today. But she is the expert, especially on the chatbot. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I think we would be closing up.